Okay, this is Joe Krein. We're on Elvis Radio, and I have Chris Noel with me today. How you doing, Chris?
Oh, I'm just doing great.
That's good. Chris, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were born and raised?
Sure. I'm in my hometown right now, West Palm Beach, Florida. I was born and raised here.
What did your parents do?
Well, my mom pretty much stayed home with the kids, and my dad, he pretty much carried three jobs back then. It was pretty rough on him. Actually, he was my stepdad. He's my stepdad since I was 4 years old, but he took excellent care of us, and just a really terrific person. And so he helped build a lot of the roads in Palm Beach County and in Palm Beach. And he drove taxi and was a hard-working man.
Now, what did you want to do when you got older?
I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Did you?
I love animals. I love animals. They just make me so happy. And I just can't imagine even living life without having a dog.
Uh-huh.
I just can't imagine it.
So how did you get into acting?
Well, living in Florida, I was a baton twirler when I was young, and then one of our classes was home economics, and you had to make something to wear. And a modeling teacher came in, and she showed us how to model and how to show it, and I knew right then and there that that's what I wanted to do. I went home and told my parents I want to be a model. I want to take modeling lessons, and so that was my gift from junior high to high school. And the next thing you know is I'm like teaching modeling and became director of that modeling school, and then by the time I was 17, 18, I started my own and entered beauty contest and went to New York City and started doing commercials on television because I was a commercial model because I wasn't tall and thin. I was a little short for a fashion model, and I had curves. And
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and so in commercials, I'd say a line, then a sentence, and then next thing you know, I was doing a commercial, and then we got a part in a tiny movie in New York City, but Sandy Howard directed and wrote, and he was the man that he did the movie called A Man Called Horse with Richard Harris, plus other films.
Yeah.
And that was my first film, and I was a line girl, which gave me the money to travel. And so I went to California to see what it was like, because everyone in New York would say, you don't belong in New York. You need to go to Hollywood. And so I ended up under contract at MGM. That's how it started.
And now, what was your first one with MGM? Was that Soldier in the Rain?
Actually, no, I did a TV series called The Lieutenant with Gary Lockwood and Robert Vaughn, and I played a different part on each show, and which was really quite good because that was, quite an exciting thing to do, to be able to play a different role. Sure. And then my first film was with Allied Artist, Soldier in the Rain. With where I played opposite Steve McQueen in that film. Wow. And that was pretty important.
Yeah, my God, Steve McQueen and then Elvis Presley. Goodness gracious.
Yes.
Hey, so when did you find out that you were going to be doing a movie in '64 with Elvis? Well, how did you find out?
I think I went on a casting and ended up being cast for it. Do you want me to tell you when I first met Elvis?
Please. Well, that was going to be one of the next questions, so I was going to get there.
It was it?
It was.
Well, actually, I met him in Florida when I was a teenager.
Oh.
And yes, and my girlfriend said, come on, we're going to go to this movie theater, and we're going to see Elvis Presley. And I'm going, well, okay, but how do you say his name again? You know, I was used to Tom, Dick, and Harry's.
Uh-huh.
You know, I didn't know anyone by the name of Elvis. And so, you know, of course, now everybody in the world knows that name. So I went, and then we had really good seats right up front, and I was just so stunned. I had never seen an audience screaming and yelling in a movie theater before. Because it was in a movie theater where we had a little stage, and I was just like, I think I was overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went backstage. We had to kind of climb these little stairs, and he was at the stairs in the back, and the girl in front of me was the prettiest girl in school. She was really, really pretty with beautiful long hair and very sexy, and she planted a kiss on Elvis. That was unbelievable, and I had never even kissed a boy. So I'm standing there going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do?
Uh-huh.
So I handed him a piece of paper, and I said, can I please have your autograph? And he wrote his name, and I went my way, and I put it in my purse and my wallet. And at that time, we would pass our wallets around in class and stuff and show people, you know, our pictures and things, and someone stole my autograph.
Oh, my God.
And so when 64 came around and I was able to work with Elvis, I mean, that was just, like, incredible.
Yeah.
Whoever dreamt that I would end up being a movie actress and end up in a movie with Elvis.
Did you tell Elvis that story, how you had seen him?
No, I don't think I told him that story.
Well, did you at least get another autograph from Elvis?
Well, actually, he sent flowers.
Did he?
And I guess he or somebody had heard me say, because Miriam Mobley and Shelley Fabre received flowers, and I said to one of the girls, oh, we didn't get flowers. Next thing you know, we had flowers with a little note, you'll never be forgotten, love Elvis, which was sweet.
Yeah, it was. It was. Hey, how did you think Elvis was as an actor?
I thought he was fabulous.
Yeah.
He was always on time. He was always ready. Nobody had to wait for him. He didn't play prima donna. He just went in and he knew his lines.
Mm-hmm.
He was ready. Even if he didn't want to do the films, you know, I mean, he was a professional.
Mm-hmm.
A real professional.
Yeah. Hey, you know, others have said that on movie sets, Elvis would fool around a little bit or pull practical jokes. Did he do that?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Oh, my God.
Go ahead. Come on.
In my case, I'm sitting there in a chair, and I'm watching what was happening, and all of a sudden, there's a tongue in my right ear. And I did not react very nicely. I'm almost embarrassed in today's world to say, you know, what I said, but I just kind of I just went, lay off, and I turned around, and it was Elvis, and my mouth just went wide open, and he looked at me, and he goes, oh, what did you say? And I had to sit there and collect myself, and so I just looked up and I went, you heard what I said. He says, okay, that's the way you feel about it. You know, but now as I look back at it, I know he was just joking with me.
Sure.
But I was serious, you know, this real serious person. And I didn't know how to take something like that. You know, I mean, here he was pulling things like that with girls all the time, and they just loved and screamed and yelled and wanted more, you know. But I wasn't used to that.
Yeah. Well, he didn't treat you any. Did he treat you any different? Did he treat you any differently after that? I mean, wasn't?
No, he did not. He was wonderful. He would sing to me, and throughout the years, some of the guys that knew him would see me in different parts of the country. You know, I'd be for Vietnam Veterans Affairs, and they'd come up to me, you know, or a guy would come up to me and he'd tell me who he was, and he worked for Elvis, and he'd tell me that Elvis used to say really good things about me.
There you go.
How much that he really admired me, and I mean that meant everything. I thought I was kind of embarrassed and thought, well, I really put him off, and shame on me, and how could I have reacted like that, and why couldn't I have been smart enough to say, oh, it's you, do it again, or anything,
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was in Hollywood, and I was having to fend off a lot of creeps all the time, and, it was, Hollywood was great, but it was kind of hard for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't into a lot of that, all that sexual liberation that everybody was talking about.
Free love.
I was brought up a good girl. That doesn't mean I stayed that way, but I was brought up a good girl, and
well, he didn't hate you for it.
No, he was still very sweet to me.
Yeah. Now you did a song with Elvis. Now, was that your voice?
No.
It wasn't. They did a voiceover?
No, we sang it, and actually, I don't even remember practicing it but one time. And we didn't have the words in front of us, so we had to, you had to just hope you got it.
Yeah. How was it acting with Shelley?
She's the best.
Is she? She seems like she's a nice person.
There's two girls in Hollywood, actresses that are just absolutely fabulous, and one is Shelley Fabares, and the other one is Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah.
Just really good people.
Yeah. Hey, how long?
Shelley.
Go ahead.
Good. Shelley was really good.
How long did it take to shoot the movie?
Not long.
No. Do you remember how long? Just not long. Not like they do today.
No, I guess I want to say 3 weeks.
Really? Wow.
I could be a little off, but it didn't. A month, I mean, it didn't take long.
No.
We just had it down together, and you just go in and click, and you never had to worry about Elvis. I mean, Elvis had everything together.
Did he?
Like I said, he didn't give anybody a hard time.
No. Did he have any, I'm sure, did he have his guys with him? Did you see any of the guys?
Oh, yeah, they were around.
Were they? No problems with them?
No.
No, they were just good bunch of guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, they were there to keep him company, and when he wanted to talk to somebody, he had his buddies to talk to, and it's not like we talked a whole lot on set and stuff. One time I remember I was standing there with him waiting for a scene, and I did ask him a question, and I don't know why I asked him this, but for some reason I could have said anything to him, and all of a sudden I started talking to him about the military, and I asked him what it was like for him to be a big star where he could do anything he wanted, and all of a sudden to be in the military being told what to do. How in the world did he handle it? And he said that he just kind of like looked and he thought about it a second, and he said that whatever he did, he just did the best.
Right.
Polishing my boots, they were going to be the best that I could do. Anything, whatever it was they told me to do. He says, I just did it the best I could.
Is there any other stories that happened on the set that you think the listeners would like to hear?
Oh, well, his fight scenes were always fun.
Were they?
Yeah.
Did anybody act?
He had those fight scenes down, too. I mean, there was no playing around. Those fight scenes were, choreographed, and he was like zip, zip, zip with them.
Did anybody ever accidentally get hit?
No.
No. No, because they were good at what they did.
I mean, you would think they were killing each other. Tables were flying, chairs were being broken, over the bar, people were being slung, but it was just, he really didn't have to do it very many times.
Yeah,
it just seemed like you really get what they needed. And it was fun being in the jail scene with him.
Was it?
with us girls in the jail scene, and he comes into the jail scene to try and get Shelly and us girls out.
Mm-hmm.
That was really kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then we had to kind of dress him up so he could get out because we were let out, and he was among us because he had snuck in, and we had to wait for him to get out. That was really funny.
Yeah. How did Elvis say goodbye to you and the girls at the end of the movie? I mean, did he send flowers again, or?
No, and I never saw him ever again.
Never? No, that was the next question. You never saw Elvis again after?
No. I understand that I was to be cast in a movie. I started going to Vietnam right after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cast in the movie, and the producer who was doing the movie got really mad, and he says, "What? That's that girl that goes over to Vietnam? No way is she going to be in my movie."
Are you kidding? That's awful.
Yeah, I was supposed to have been cast in another movie with Elvis.
Oh, my God. That's awful. See, now, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty strange. I mean, it was pretty strange, but, you know, I liked what I did, and I had to do what I did. I just, I couldn't have lived with myself if I hadn't.
Thank God you did. When did you first go over to Vietnam?
In the very end of 66.
Uh-huh.
66, 67, 68, 69, and then out of Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was going to...
part of my life.
I was going to ask you if that ever prevented you from getting any jobs, and you've already said yes, it did. My goodness.
Well, that's what my agents and everybody said. Even my doctor says, "You stop going to Vietnam and you settle down here." He says, "Otherwise you're never going to work again." I mean, even my doctor said that to me.
Jeez. Well, I thank you for going.
I'm happy with my decision.
Well, that's all that matters.
I think I made a big difference, a real big difference in the world with the work that I did. You know, like going over there and figuring out how to cheer these guys up, and you know, and I'm not a joke teller. I'm not someone who cracks funny jokes. I just never was like that. I'm sort of like this deep, serious person, you know? I mean, I laugh a lot, trust me. I love to be around my friends who are really funny. I just laugh all the time. But, you know, I was just really happy that I learned to sing. I mean, if I hadn't gone over to Vietnam, I never would have learned to sing. I learned to sing some songs so I could sing to them.
Well, I'm glad that you went over, and like I said, I had an uncle that was there, and I'm glad that there was somebody there for the soldiers and that. Now, you were on TV, too. Now, I remember, who did you play on My Three Sons?
A woman who was going to marry...
One of the brothers.
I don't remember who I was going to marry.
Were you going to marry one of the... You were going to marry one of the sons?
Is that who I was going to marry?
I think so. I'm hoping. Okay. I'm hoping you're the one that I think you are on that particular show, because if you are, I had a wicked crush on you. So. Yeah,
but the kids all kind of like ran away or something. They were upset with me.
Well, how many episodes did you do?
Only one.
Only one episode. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure then.
Because I was marrying, whoever I was marrying, whatever it was about, they were upset.
Uh-huh. Now, you also did Bewitched. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. You also did Bewitched, and I'm hoping listeners will go to your site. What's your website address?
My website is chrisnoel.com.
Yeah, and now you have a video there, a DVD, that I'm hope that listeners will go and purchase for $19 and something, and you've got some great stories on there, and I saw from your site how you were on Bewitched.
Yes, it was a funny scene.
Didn't go well. It didn't go well?
I just didn't like her.
You didn't like her? Wow.
No, she was a real witch.
Was she?
But, yeah, she was something.
Wow.
I don't know what her problem was, but she certainly wasn't nice to me. She wouldn't even say hello to me when I said hello to her. I did nothing to her.
Uh-huh. Huh. Probably because you were better looking than her. Probably because you were better looking than her.
Well, that's what a lot of people have said.
Yes, that's what it was. One more Elvis question. Where were you, and how did you find out that Elvis had passed away?
Oh, my gosh. Actually, it was in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I was recording. And I was so sad. I wanted so much to go, but I thought, oh, they're not going to let me go because there's so many other big stars that want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that I wouldn't be able
to get close.
You know. So I didn't go. But it was just, I just felt this great sadness of like such an incredible loss.
Mm-hmm. It was.
I mean, that man, when people want to know what he was really like, I mean, I tell them, he's all the good things that you ever heard about him. He was all of them. He was a very spiritual man. He was a man of God.
Mm-hmm.
A true man of God.
No.
And that's why he wanted to help and others, and was so generous and gave so much of himself in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
He was a magnificent man.
Now, you were at Elvis Week this year. You were one of the guests, weren't you?
Yes, uh-huh.
How did you enjoy doing that?
Mm-hmm, I did.
Good. So, what are you doing now?
Well, I have shelters for homeless veterans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it for, 14 years now, I guess. And, I try to take, particularly I like working with Vietnam vets because I was in Vietnam and I have such a great understanding of them.
Uh-huh.
And I like them. And so I give them a place to stay and encourage them to stay off of their alcohol and drugs because you can't live in my shelters if you're going to be using.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them, of course, are on very heavy medicines. And that PTSD, I mean, that is a very, very serious, horrible thing, post-traumatic stress disorder. In fact, now people claim it from all kinds of things, claim they have it. And if it wasn't for the Vietnam veterans and them trying to figure out what was wrong with all of those vets,
mm-hmm.
Why years later all of a sudden they would explode and things would happen. That's why they call it post-traumatic. You hold your emotions, for the
mm-hmm.
things you've seen and were around, and then the nightmares hit, and the sweats, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and these young people coming back from Iraq, boy, there's a lot of cases of that, too.
Yeah.
A lot of suicides.
Yep, there is.
War is not beautiful. War is a very, very ugly thing. But I truly believe that sometimes you have to have war in order to have peace.
Yeah, I agree.
Weird as that sounds, and I respect anybody who's willing to sign a document that he's willing to give up, or she is willing to give up their life
mm-hmm.
for this country.
But we also need to take care of our soldiers while they're there and when they come home.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to...
We don't have enough room in the VA hospitals now.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
It's very, very tense.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you. Please don't hang up. But I want to thank you for doing this for Elva Radio. And if you'd like to say goodbye to everybody, is there one thing that you'd like to say to the listeners before you go?
Well, I want to thank them for listening, and thank you for tuning in and hearing what I have to say. It perhaps wasn't very profound, but there's not a whole lot of us left that ever touched Elvis and that, ever really got to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel privileged that, even though my part in Elvis's life was just very tiny, his part in my life was huge. And I respected the man. I just think he was the finest. And how lucky that we all have been that has ever heard that voice.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Very, very fortunate to have heard that voice. There's nobody who ever can outsing him.